Welcome to the EFL report on the win. I'm joined by my good buddy Matthew Felenstein once again, commissioner of the EFL. Matt, how are we feeling tonight?
Feeling good. Recording this pretty late tonight. This is just after the Knicks game. Big win on the road or at home against the Cavs. So feeling pretty good coming after that. Not feeling so great after week 7.
Certainly, it was a tough week. I mean, I did win. I did win, but yeah, for your squad, it's been a tough season. Wouldn't you say? Yeah,
this season has not been what we hoped. At the Buck and the Duck, started off 2-1 and then have lost 4 straight. So not feeling too great.
So let's dive into week 7 a little bit. I wanted to take a look at the worst matchups of that week and also what we thought the best matchup was. So first of all, with the worst, what do you think was the toilet bowl of week 7?
So choosing between 2 here, I wanted to pick Taylor Park and Baker may fuck you, but I'm actually going to go with your matchup as you barely cracked 100 and still won by like 17.
Bad wins are wins nonetheless. That's my motto.
That's a good motto. Yeah, and yours was definitely, you lived up to that. Quarterback scoring 14, Jordan Love. This was just an ugly win.
I think I had, both of us, me and Boss Pros, had less than 80 points combined going into Monday Night Football. It was ugly.
Yeah.
And I had 3 players left. I think I had my line. I had a Monra and a couple others. So I felt confident, but certainly ugly.
Yeah, the Boss Bros, I mean, they've been relying on some questionable running backs the last 2 weeks. Notably last week, I think they paid off having Vidal, and they let it ride this week, and he did not perform.
No.
And they also have had Woody Marks in the lineup, who's been super hit or miss since that big 24 weeks a couple weeks ago. They are really struggling at running back.
I do have a quick note about Kamani Vidal. I wanted to try and trade for him by offering Kenbone Walker. Not to say that Walker did any better, but he called Kenneth Walker pitiful. And then we'll use some other choice words that I'll choose not to say here. But then Vidal puts up that type of stinker. So
I mean that's got to feel pretty good.
Let's take a look at the best matchup of this week, and it's hard not to look at either the Cookie Monster or We Want the Beer Mile. Of course, the 2 best teams in the league, putting up big numbers in week 7.
Yeah, I personally picked Justice Beaver versus the Beer Mile. I mean, these are 2 pretty good teams. Justice Beaver coming off of a big trade. We actually have the Justice Beaver over here on the right side.
You had a great week. To be fair, he put up almost 120.
Yeah.
I mean, if they won a loss, 120 in a loss.
If he wasn't going up against an absolute wagon,
would it beat me?
Yeah. Would it beat you? Would it beat me? It would beat a lot of teams.
It would beat all but one team I checked.
All but 2.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he went against Jahmyr Gibbs, 40 burger.
I think it was before the 3rd quarter or something like that.
I mean,
most of the points.
He was nuts. The Browns outscored everyone on Justice Beaver's team. The Browns defense of all teams. And then Trey McBride with 24. So outside Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty an unconventional way of winning in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, Beaver's made a couple trades to try and shake things up a little bit. He's in a tough division. I say in my division, maybe it's a little biased, but it's, every loss, every win kind of matters, especially in these with this new format that we had.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly one of the better games of this week. I'll give it to Cookie Monster with putting up 153, which is the top scoring team on the week. He's been so dominant with Devontae Adams, JSN, and Devon Achan and CMC. That's 2 of with those 4 players. Those are at least top 10 players in their respective positions.
Yeah, and he's also had really good depth. DK Metcalf, I know he didn't have the greatest week against Cincinnati, But before this, he's been putting up at least 10 a game. And then he's also had some depth in Keenan Allen and Stephon Diggs. I actually checked before here. Keenan Allen's averaging 13 a week. It got him in like the 10th round.
It's insane. I mean, I kind of figured he was going to go off to a good start because of the rapport he has with Herbert. He's been on the team before. He had a role for him, but you would never think he'd be a top 10 wide receiver.
No,
going into halfway through the regular season.
11 for 119 and a touchdown this last week.
You'll take that any day of the week.
And by the way, on his bench,
right,
doesn't even need him.
His receiving room is stacked.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, I mean, those are two great matchups. We're going to follow Cookie Monster really closely. I mean, we think of him really highly for this year. He's got a championship in his career, and we'll see what happens going into next week.
Yeah, I don't want to mention the season. I know if a pitcher's got a perfect game, you don't want to say anything. You know, if goalie's pitching a shutout, you don't really want to say anything. Mm-hmm. But we're halfway through the season. Cookie Monster 7-0. So I did want to take a little bit of a look back a couple years. We had one undefeated season by the great Matt Larson a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So halfway there. I know you went 11-0 one of these years. Eventually fizzled out.
I think that was that season when I went up against him in the championship. They went 11-2. I finished the season 11-2, and I played him in the chip, and I ended up getting smoked that game. I couldn't New York Giants my way out of that one. But yeah, that was the last undefeated team, so we'll see what happens the rest of the way.
Only had it once, but just wanted to mention, I mean, we're going to keep an eye out on this for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at week 8. So we got a few good games going on. I think for me, the game that I'm really looking at is the Taylor Park Boys and We Want the Beer Mile. It's two of the better teams in the league, in their divisions too. Taylor Park Boys being one of the few teams that are above 500 minus the leaders in their divisions. And it's been on the back of Indiana Jones and JT, who has been an excellent tandem.
Yeah,
which is crazy to say real quick, that Daniel Jones has been, what is he right now? He's PRK 6.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I mean, this has been, as a Giants fan, not painful to watch.
I've always had respect for Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I loved him for a year, and he just never ended up working out on the Giants. So seeing him flourish in Indiana, it's kind of bittersweet because you wish you did it for the Giants, but now you're doing this for another team. But Jackson Dart's been great, so can't really complain. And that's kind of been how he's this was not his starting quarterback going into the season. I'm pretty sure he had. I just don't remember.
He had Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. That's right. Yeah, Joe Burrow went down and then picked up Daniel Jones. He's been really good on the waiver wire this year.
Certainly.
Rico Dowdle coming through for a couple of really big games.
It's a big pickup.
Yeah.
Take a look at his team. He's got Matthew Goldman as his wide receiver 3. Xavier Worthy as another one of his wide receivers. And, of course, Puka Nacua. It's crazy to say that Puka isn't your best player when you have Jonathan Taylor as your RB1. I mean, two players who are the ones at their respective positions. Puka obviously is going to drop because of his injury, but he was playing like it. He would have finished that.
Yeah.
And he still could.
Yeah. No, he's been great. And I think that's a big reason. Him and the duo in Indiana has been a big reason why Taylor Park Boys are 4-3. So I really like where this matchup is heading. If you look at the Beer Mile, they're starting some questionable people this week.
It's a great shout. Notably, Jahmyr Gibbs being on a bye and Trey McBride. So without those two players, they have Tyler Algier in their running back 2 spot and Dalton Kincaid as their starting tight end with Malik Washington in that flex.
Yeah, Malik Washington being there is definitely that's one of the
receivers in the NFL.
That is one of the receivers in the NFL. I mean, I don't know if I'd want any part of the Dolphins offense right now. They just got basically shut out by the Browns. So I personally, if I wasn't starting Achane,
She agrees.
I wouldn't start Malik Washington. My dog wouldn't start Malik Washington.
No.
So it'll be interesting. It's basically they're down a guy going into this week.
Yeah, and they still hold the top spot in their division. I don't think there's anyone in contention who could take that over in the next few weeks. Now the Boss Bros are in second at 3-4, so they'd still be sitting pretty at the top with a loss. But still, something to note that it'll be tough for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at another matchup going into week 8. Which one is catching your eye?
Yeah, so one that I really wanted to look at is Four Digs and Gritty Kings. Gritty Kings, notably, I think started off 2-0.
Yes.
And it has been on the slide of slides so far, losing 5 straight. And Four Digs just picked up a win, much needed win, starting off 1-5. And so both these teams kind of gritty, didn't.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Couple of these teams that could really use a win, bottom feeders in the league, and definitely could use this like a stepping stone. And a couple things I wanted to look at was Nico Collins. Not really.
Yes.
Don't really know if we're gonna see him this week, and so maybe we're gonna have to see Devonta Smith, who's been really up and down, into the lineup, and Gritty Kings having some questionable running backs.
Gritty King's running back room has been a struggle. He's going with a lot of the really high talented running backs that are part of bad offenses, and Alvin Kamara and Breece Hall. He's got really minus Breece Hall, the unk room of running backs with David Montgomery and Kamara taking the lead.
Yeah.
And he's going 22 personnel. He's got Dallas Goedert starting at tight end and Tucker Kraft in his flex, which isn't terrible. Kraft is probably good for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But that's what it's come to with his situation with Montgomery on a bye.
Yeah, having one of the best wide receivers and right now the best fantasy quarterback in football. It's a weird team he's throwing out there this week.
It is, and he definitely needs this win to get off the schneid. 5 straight losses is a tough go. Yeah, and like you said with Four Digs, Nico Collins has been MIA most of the year.
Yeah.
He hasn't been great because the Texans' offense hasn't been great, and now has a concussion. It would look pretty bad on Monday night. We'll see if he plays. Obviously, we're going to have to follow the practice reports. Like you said, Devonta Smith probably slides in. Darren Waller's now on IR, so hopefully David Njoku comes back for him. Otherwise, he's really going to be struggling at tight end and at his wide receiver position.
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point where they have good running backs. They just haven't really hit the wide receivers yet. I know they have Rashee Rice, who had a great game last week, and Devonta Smith with best game of his season so far. But I really am interested to see how this game pans out.
Yeah, it's a big game for both the teams. I mean, 4-10 record combined out of both of them. Definitely one of the bottom teams of the league that halfway through the season, it's a make or break point if you're at the bottom part. And with the way our system works, where points matter a lot more, those last 2 spots in our playoffs, going to those with the next highest in points, the least you can do is score.
Right.
So that's the kind of look ahead to week 8. I want to talk, is there any other matchup that you're looking at in week 8 that you're excited about, or something that is you kind of wanted to mention?
I mean, personally, I'm excited for our matchup.
That's true. That's good. That's good to know.
We've had a kind of a slide ourselves. We started off 2-1 on a 4-game slide. My team being the Bug and the Duck, and our team has just been up and down with a lot of rookies in the lineup.
I think that's a good talking point briefly, that the rookie running backs or the rookie players in this year in fantasy, the ones that were drafted high, have not panned out, or that were supposed to be. Like Abuka was supposed to go a little later, and he's the only one that's you got a real return on your investment. Amarin Hampton, he actually wasn't bad for the first part, but during those first 3 weeks, you weren't really happy with him.
Right.
Ashton Genty, guy that you drafted, you haven't been too happy with him. You got guys. I'm trying to think of like McMillan, who's
McMillan's
been okay.
been up and down.
He's been up and down.
Other guys who people drafted really high, Ja'Cory Cressy-Merritt, he's had one really good game where you saw a lot of production and hasn't really been able to replicate it. Outside of Ibuka and Scadaboo, I feel like there's really been not too many rookie skilled position players, maybe other than Tyler Warren.
Just came to my head, Travion Henderson.
Yeah.
He was a huge name coming out of the preseason as someone that could take over the backfield over Ramondre.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. He's been borderline droppable for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets more work as the season goes on, but he hasn't taken over like we thought he would.
Right. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson has looked like he's got 2 sticks of butter for hands, and Mike Vrabel has still given him the ball time after time.
It's that veteran thing, I guess, with the veteran head coaches. They love to stick with the guy that works, and that can help win their football games, I guess.
Right.
I don't know what he really does. I'm not a film junkie with this, but certainly Travion Henderson has not done well for anyone who drafted him highly. And he wasn't drafted too high in our league. Still, he has not been great.
No, he definitely hasn't. To be fair, Ramondre Stevenson did have a good game for you last week.
He did. But it's been the tale of the tape for the rookie so far, and you tried to go with it with Ashton Genty, and right, you haven't been too happy with his production thus far.
No, he hasn't been great. Travis Hunter was definitely off to a slow start. Finally had a good game in London. I think he went for 8 for 110 and a touchdown. 8 for 101 and a touchdown. So hopefully they come after the bye and he looks good. But besides him, we've just been really up and down.
Certainly. Yeah, I would kind of retweet that for my team personally. It's been really up and down. I've started the season off with really good wide receivers, and I haven't really made a move to trade them too much. I finally made a trade to get Josh Jacobs, but it's been really up and down. I'm 3-4. The record kind of reflects that. I feel that pain. Now, right now, I'm running 22 personnel with Harold Fannin and my flex with Travis Kelce starting.
Yeah,
it's been difficult.
I feel like going into this year, everyone was not really sure that there were that many good tight ends, and now we see like across the league multiple guys starting 2 tight ends.
You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
Yeah, we're 7 weeks in and it already feels kind of desperate for a lot of teams.
That's right. That's absolutely right. All right. So, any other teams, any one of the matchups you want to look at for Week 8?
I think those were the main 2 that I personally wanted to look at.
Okay.
If you had any others?
I think I'm good. So let's move on to the power rankings going into Week 8. I have them all pulled up here. I'll start with my bottom 6 teams. So I'll go with Baker Mayfuck as the bottom team, followed by the Gritty Kings, 4 Diggs, Osama bin Hampton, and the Buck and the Duck. And then Justice Beaver. Those are my bottom 6. Baker Mayfuck. As much as he's got a few more wins, I just think that his team is riddled with so many injuries. I don't really see a dominant wide receiver one. I don't really see a really good running back one either. Losing Malik Neighbors doesn't help. He traded Josh Jacobs. Going into this next week, I don't think he looks that great.
Yeah, I mean, Ibuka played last week. Didn't really seem like he was 100%. Hamstring injuries usually tend to be lingering. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I am, but it didn't seem like he looked all that great. And outside of Emeka Ibuka, he really I struggle to find talent on his team. I mean, Baker Mayfield, definitely the lone star of this roster, but J.K. Dobbins and Pollard in a 12-man, it's not
tough.
Great.
Yeah, it's tough. They got off to hot starts, but maybe they simmered down a little bit, and they have. Quentin Johnson got off to a really good start, but now their offensive line is so battered, talking about the Chargers, of course, that his ceiling has been capped off a lot.
Yeah, and you've seen an emergence of Ladd McConkey, kind of been back to form from last year. Keenan Allen has had a complete resurgence from the last year being on the Bears. And then you see guys like their new tight end, who has had, I think, 9 targets the last 2 games.
And that's probably a product of their offensive line being so bad. Herbert's got to get the ball out quick.
Right. I think he threw the ball 52 times, and Quentin Johnson had 3 catches.
Yep, he's the downfield guy, and he probably doesn't have a lot of time to throw. So anyone who's short and intermediate is getting the bulk of the work.
Yeah, so definitely. I don't have Baker Mayfuck at 12, but I've got him low.
Yeah. What are your bottom 6 rankings?
Yeah, so rounding out. I
have them pulled up here, but I just wanted to go over them.
Yeah, sure. Rounding out the list is 4 Diggs. I know they came off a win beating my team, who's definitely not been up to a great start, but I feel like their roster, it's just kind of muddy, and don't really see a ton from them currently. Power rankings, they're 2 and 5. Right. So I do have Baker Mayfuck at 11. Like we said, his roster is not too great. Osama bin Hampton at 10. He's just been injured to hell this week. He's lost. Just had CD come back, but he's lost Wilson, Hampton. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of other guys.
Those are the 2 of his biggest names. I mean, and then you think like Trey Benson is on IR, so he's got to start 2 Titans with Calvin Ridley and Tajay Spears.
we're in week 8. Starting 2 Titans that's bad.
It's rough. It's rough. I mean, I guess that's what happens with injuries and buys. I have Osama bin Hampton in my 9 spot for that similar reason. I have 4 Diggs a little worse, a little better than you, but still in that bottom echelon of teams. Derrick Henry's got to show something. I think he really went off to a slow start. He's their third running back. It's really been Javonte, who's been their one, and James Cook has been excellent.
Yeah, actually, some really good running backs.
Yes, but you wouldn't think of it, of course. You wouldn't think of those would be the guys, right? And their receiver room has been kind of tough with Nico Collins not playing up to par. I have Gritty Kings at 11, and the reason I said this was we talked about it. That running back room is really rough for me. Jamar Chase is his one, which is good, but losing 5 in a row, I think I take that a little bit more as like, man, you're struggling right now. I think going into next week he could probably get a win, but I just think he's one of the worst teams in the league right now. No offense, that's just what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I had him a little bit higher. I had him actually at 7, just because he still put up points for. Like we said, 7 and 8 gets the 0.4 spot for the playoffs, and having the number 1 QB, number 2 wide receiver, still it's helped him. I know a lot of these other players have had teams where you don't really see a lot of like top end production. So him having 2 of the best players in fantasy football has given me reason to put him at 7.
Why do you put yourself in that bottom part? Honestly, I kind of do too. But why do you put yourself in that bottom half of the league?
Yeah, I put myself at 9, which is honestly kind of generous to us. I've got us above a 3 and 4. Baker may fuck you, and ahead of the other 2 and 5 teams. I put us at 9 just because I think we've got more guys with promise than those other 2 and 5 teams, but we're 2 and 5. Mm-hmm. Like at the end of the day, a spade is a spade.
Wins, yeah.
We just haven't been winning the games. We haven't been putting up points for. We've got 7 of 3. I mean, if you look at Nicky and his Cookie Monster team, he's got almost 900 points. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think you could put us that much higher than 9. I honestly think that was generous. Even I know my teammate Bo thought we could be a little bit higher, but when you put a lot of stock in rookies, sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. I think this year it hasn't paid off so far.
Are there any teams in this bottom half that you could see cracking into the top 6 teams in the near future?
I think the one team I was looking at as like maybe potential to crack the top 6 was Boss Bros. I really like their wide receiving core. They've got 3 guys who any week could give you at least 25 in Drake London, Rome Odunze, and Cortland Sutton. And then having Saquon Barkley, I know his first half of the schedule has not been what a lot of people hoped, drafting him so high in the first round. But if you look at their schedule after the bye, they play Green Bay, Detroit, and then it really softens up from there in Dallas, Chicago, the Chargers, and Vegas. So I really feel like second half of the season, Saquon Barkley could be in for some really good games. And then they also have Jackson Dart. And I mean, say what you want about Jackson Dart. He's been really good in fantasy the last 3 games.
He's been really, I checked his stats before, and I think he's got at least 19 in every single game that he's been in. So he's been playing at an elite level, and he's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off of his best game against Denver with 30 points against one of the best defenses on the road. Mm-hmm. And I forgot to mention, he's not even their starting quarterback. They have Lamar coming back this week. So I think if there's anyone who I would pick to crack the top 6, it's definitely these guys.
And I had Boss Bros already in my top 5. But honestly, for the reasons you laid out, was that I really like their entire team. Their roster looked really good to me. And with Lamar Jackson coming back, I mean, you expect him to play at a much better level than he was before he got hurt. I really like their team. Even though I did just beat them, like, I still, with Drake London and Rome Odunze as your 1 and 2, I think brighter days are ahead for that room. And I really like their team. I think they're definitely in that top 5. I already had them there.
So I honestly might be talking myself into it.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, yeah, like, listen, they're a good team. They haven't been able to put up points, and that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's look at the top 6 now. So I'll start off with my top 6. I put myself at 6, so right at that line. Then I have the Boss Bros that we just mentioned. Then I have the Taylor Park Boys, and we talked a lot about them with that stack with the Colts players. I have hanging with Mr. Hernandez at 3. I mean, man, his 3 running. I mean, when you have Judkins as your 3rd running back, I mean that's just great stuff. His wide receiver room is solid. I think Jalen Waddle has really come on, even though Miami's offense has struggled. He's been a really good player for them. Deebo Samuel was really hot at first. I know he was kind of banged up, but he's still been a really good wide receiver. I just like hanging with Mr. Hernandez's team. I think it's built really well. And, of course, Bijan Robinson. I remember that was a big talking point, was taking Bijan over Jamar Chase in the draft. And he went with this guy, and it's paid off crazy. And he's reaping the rewards of that. I top 6 rounds out with We Want the Beer Mile and Cookie Monster. I would almost put We Want the Beer Mile ahead of him just because he has more points for, but Cookie Monster's team is just so loaded, top to bottom.
Yeah, Cookie Monster's team, I also had one. I had pretty much the same top 4 with you. Had hanging with Mr. Hernandez, number 3. What We Want the Beer Mile, number 2. Taylor Park Boys, 4. I actually had you at 5.
Okay.
I really liked your team. The trade timing, I mean, selling high on Ibuka at the absolute high to get a RB1 in Josh Jacobs. I really like that move for you. So I had you at 5, with also you have a lot of points for. I love looking at points for in these rankings.
I would agree, yeah.
And then rounding out my bottom was Justice Beaver. I know a lot of people were giving him some flack for the trade he made to acquire Cam Scadaboo, but he's been great. I mean, Cam Scadaboo has been really good these last couple of games, and another player who, you wouldn't expect to be such a... It's not a pretty name, but DeAndre Swift has been really good the last 5 games. So him pairing with both Minnesota wide receivers and Chris Olave, it's a team that you wouldn't expect to be good, but it kind of has been pretty good of late.
Certainly. I mean, Jordan Addison, too, as his 3rd wide receiver, who in the 3 games that he's played has put up solid numbers, really good numbers, 15, 12, and 19. I think that chemistry is working, and he has the 2 Minnesota wide receivers. Chris Olave is a massive floor play with just the amount of work he gets, and he finally had touchdown regression where he got into the end zone twice. He had a really great week. Yeah, I agree. His team is very solid. I am high on Justice Beaver too.
Looking at his team, he does have 3 Giants, which if I told you that at the start of the year, I don't know how high you'd think you'd put them, but I mean, these 3 Giants are all top 20 in their position rank, give or take.
Scadaboo projected 13 points. I mean, I guess it does make sense based on his fantasy points, but it feels like he should be projected more.
Yeah,
I thought that trade for Cam Scadaboo was really good. I know it made sense for you guys just to try and get an explosive wide receiver 1. Cam Scadaboo was a dog. I mean, we're Giants fans, so we see it every Sunday.
Yep.
Every game that they play, he's so good, and they use him so much in the offense. And he's an RB1. He's a low-end RB1, and I think that was a great trade for Ryan.
Yeah, I fully agree. It was tough letting him go. At the time, we thought our running back room was more than capable in taking the hit. Still, honestly, remains to be seen if that was a good trade for us.
I guess we'll figure out. We're halfway through this year through the EFL. By the way, this is a league name that we just coined. I think it was week 2, and we're kind of rocking with it. But overall state of the league, how do you feel being as the commissioner going into we're in year 11 now of this league? What are the overall thoughts halfway through the season?
Honestly, feeling pretty good. We haven't had a ton of trades this week. I know you and I had talked beforehand. Only been 2 trades, the one we mentioned, and then earlier we talked about your trade with Ryan, getting Ibuka off your roster for Josh Jacobs. I think in the coming weeks, we're going to see a lot of moves, especially with teams with a lot of talent, maybe trying to move up and get like a high-end RB1 or wide receiver 1 from teams who maybe could use some depth. So specifically, I wanted to look at the Gritty Kings, having Jamar Chase and not a ton else surrounding him.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that is a team that is in desperate need of a trade. They have struggled, I think, with their running back room, and they have the depth to give up guys. I know I've been in talks with them with their tight ends, surprisingly enough. I'm just interested in Tucker Kraft, but I'll just throw it out there. But it's definitely a good trade candidate. He kind of needs to make a move. Losing 5 straight definitely doesn't help. I would think that he's stirring it in his office at the Gritty Kings. So I think that's a good candidate to make a move soon. What is the feeling about any of the rule changes or any of the rules that you might have in place going forward?
Yeah, I think at the end of this year, we're probably going to switch from waiver, which we've had as long as we've been doing this league. I know we switched to rolling waivers. So like when you make a claim, you go to 12. I think we're going to move to Fab after the year. I just think it'll just balance out the waivers. We've had a lot of complaints, specifically from a couple teams. The loud minority have definitely
been...
Should
him out right now, actually.
Thomas Richardson definitely wants Fab.
He actually heard him out.
Yeah, and you know what? He's probably right. It'll be fair, and we'll probably implement it after the season.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Matthew Felenstein, for your time. This has been the EFL Report on the Wit. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all